The Montreal Canadiens are one win away from moving on to the NHL Stanley Cup Semifinals. That's Aaron Ward, Shane Kelly. I'm David Pagnotta. Our coverage brought to you by Bitbuy, Canada's #1 cryptocurrency platform. And gentlemen, we might not see Jeff Petrie in the lineup tonight. He's a game-time decision for Montreal. But the way the Jets have been playing, that might not matter a whole lot. Wardle, let's start there. Can Winnipeg force a Game 5?
I think it's a struggle. I think hands are in the air with this organization. Paul Maurice, during his press conference, actually stated the purpose for the game, right? What they're going to do, they're going to get to the scoring areas. They're going to penetrate the middle in the offensive zone. And then you see the post game with Blake Wheeler completely despondent. I think as a captain, as a veteran player, he has no answers right now because basically Montreal's maintained the same style, non-exciting, kind of just get through the game, and Winnipeg hasn't found his footing. And I think it's got to fall upon certain guys. You look at Ehlers, he's come in and he's been creative, but there's no help for him. And I think there's an opportunity right now for a guy like Dubois. When you start talking about how do you get to the middle, you utilize your assets, big body, young legs, take it upon yourself to do it. But Winnipeg has absolutely no answers. And Montreal's just basically playing how they wanted. They just go in and outweight them. They want to talk about getting outside the perimeter. They're not getting outside the perimeter. Winnipeg's getting the puck in the zone and then coughing it up, and Montreal transitions. So I think this is a Winnipeg Jets team that has no answers and no hope going into Game 4 to really change the trend or find some other inspiration to get this done. I think this is donezo.
The Jets had one shot last game off of a rebound, so that I think tells you all you need to know about how well they got to the center of the ice. The other interesting thing about their play this series, after the first game, they've actually dominated possession fairly well. They're up over 55% in each of the last two games. The problem is the expected goals. Montreal, on the other hand, has been over 60% all three games. So to your point, Aaron, they're getting the puck into the zone, but everything's coming from the outside. Montreal's basically turned into the New York Islanders, giving up a ton of shots, none of them threatening. They gave up 7 slot shots to Winnipeg last game. It's basically nothing.
And Montreal's playing with a high level of confidence, right? So the reason why is Carey Price is back there with a ridiculous goals against average, ridiculous save percentage. So not only are you not getting opportunities, but when you do get there, you look from the bottom, there's a giant wall that goes all the way and it's endless, right? So now you have that mental block of trying to get it past them. That, as you state, one rebound. You're not beating Carey Price right now routinely on the first shot. It's going to require a scrum, and that's the way it's going to happen. So I don't know if it's in Winnipeg's wheelhouse to figure this out, or it's just Montreal just waiting it out, knowing that you can play making mistakes, knowing that Carey Price is going to bail you out. And now you have young guys. Again, like, so you watch the game that Cole Caulfield played last game. Someone got in his ear, told him to start shooting the puck more. You're starting to find that confidence because with the shooting comes the feet, comes the comfort, and the old guy line. I don't know if they've coined it yet, but the
golden age line
or the retirement home line, whatever it is. These guys, when you start talking about analytics, possession-wise, that puck below the goal line, Winnipeg is just not even reacting anymore. They know what they're about to get a dose of, and that's the Corey Perry, Eric Stahl, pull you out of position, put it to the place you came from, because they have that chemistry and camaraderie on the ice, or the cohesion, whatever you want to call it, where they're feeding off each other, and Winnipeg is simply reacting to a line that a guy that was going to be on the taxi squad and everybody kind of scoffed at the acquisition. Eric Stahl, who was maybe not even making the playoff lineup coming in, and Armia, who's been much maligned because everybody's had a complaint. Basically assembled the three like sore thumbs on one line, and they're dominating.
Yeah, they really are. And that confidence is spewing to the younger guys. You mentioned it, where we're seeing Cole Caulfield shooting more, Nick Suzuki throwing his arms up when he scores on the power play. The confidence is there on this team, but Shane, they're not showing it off the ice. Arturi Lehkonen spoke this morning and talked about how they're still pacing themselves. They're still taking this one game at a time. Montreal's offense, while it hasn't been as poignant as what we've seen, from Vegas, for example, against Colorado last night, but they're still getting the job done and then sitting back and allowing Winnipeg to make mistakes, which they pounce on.
Yeah, the Jets, not to go back to them, but they were really bad all season with their D-zone coverage. Their expected goals against numbers were terrible. Their actual goals against numbers weren't much better. Hellebuck just stood on his head a lot. He's not really doing that in this series, kind of like Mike Smith last series. Everything seems to be dangerous. Montreal had 16 slot shots against the Jets last game, and that's a tall order for any goalie to stop. I don't care who you are. So, the problems that the Jets had in the regular season that they kind of dispelled for the first round have come back to rear their head. And unlike Montreal, not only are they giving up a lot, but they're also not getting, the goaltending that Montreal is.
Well, Game 4 gets going here tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Jeff Petrie, as I mentioned, game time decision. Romanov or Ouellet are going to be stepping in, one of those two. We'll find out once we get closer to puck drop. That's Aaron Ward, Shane Kelly. I'm David Pagnotta.